What got you into wine really was discovering all the new flavors and just experiences you had with New World wine.
Yeah.
Like that's really what got you excited.
Without New World, Gilly Gould and I just could not have done BBC Food and Drink. We
You did
needed
that for 2 decades.
We needed a hero. We did
like,
it for 2
yeah,
decades.
2 decades.
BBC Two's most popular
1982
show.
to
Oh, a bit later than that.
wait, no, 19.
But I mean, it was at its peak, sort of late 80s,
Late
all the way
80s,
through the
all the way
90s,
90s,
into
yeah.
the noughties. When Ginny left, I went on doing it with Anthony Warren Thompson.
Of course. Yeah.
And then that morphed into James May. And suddenly one just thought, I've been doing this for about 30 years.
And that's really what got, I think, people into wine. You're really bringing wine to the people and the New World flavors too.
Point. However you do it, whether you do it by fun or laughter or madness, you've got to have flavors in those wines. And what Italy was offering us, what Spain was offering us, what Germany, what France, great, wonderful France, were offering us hardly any affordable wines which tasted of anything you wanted to put in your mouth. The quality of basic wine coming out of Spain, Italy, France in the 1980s was execrable. And luckily, I'd been to Australia as an actor. I'd been out with the Royal Shakespeare Company in the 70s. I was doing a world tour with Glenda Jackson of Hedda Gabler. I mean, 6 months with Glenda Jackson is enough to drive a man to drink. I admit it freely. But luckily, Patrick Stewart was on the trip as well. So Patrick and I became good buddies. And he would often come off at half time in Hedda Gabler and say, "Oh my God, that bloody woman! Oh, go and get me some wine." And I was the young squit in the Royal Shakespeare Company, the sort of the young actor who just did all the bits and pieces. So I would dash out to the bottle shop and bring back these bottles of Shiraz or Riesling or things like that, or Burgundy. None of them came anywhere near places like France. They were just all Australian wines for $1 or $2 a bottle, just bursting with flavour. We then went over to California and Hollywood. We played Hollywood, which is great. And again, we had the same thing. The Californians were drinking wonderful cheap wine. The Australians were drinking wonderful cheap wine. What was wrong with us in Europe? And I came back as an actor. I wasn't a wine guy.
Yeah, because you were an actor and singer for 10 years at least before you got...
10 years. And I was saying, but this is... They make wonderful wine in places like Australia and California. Nobody listened. And about, best part of 10 years later, when I was doing General Perron in Evita, and I managed to get 6 days off because we were bringing in a new Evita. So she had to be rehearsed, and then we had a big photo session for all our big front of theatre photos. And Robert Stinkwood said, "Okay, you can have 6 days off. You've got to do the Thursday matinee, and we'll put the understudy on for the evening show, but then you've got to be back on the next Thursday morning for the photo shoot, for bringing in the new Evita the week after." And I went to Australia. It takes a day and a half to get there, a day and a half to get back. I was there about 3.5 days. And that was the second time I spent, that's where I met Gilly Goulden. I met Gilly Goulden.
Where you met Gilly Goulden.
I was sat, she wasn't a wine writer. I wasn't a wine writer. I was playing General Perron in Evita. She was writing for Brides magazine and just written a book on palmistry. God knows why they thought that she and me were worth taking to Australia, but they did. Maybe no one else would go. I mean, literally, maybe no one else would go. So we went, and I sat down next to her in economy. Went all the way to Australia, stopping about 6 times on the way. We're not talking about a fast flight. We stopped in I don't know, Frankfurt, and we stopped in Athens, and we stopped in Colombo, and we stopped in, God knows, Port Moresby and Darwin, and God knows where else. And I spent all this time drinking Jacob's Creek Shiraz Grenache with Gilly Goulden. And I don't think we slept for 24 hours. We just nattered and nattered and nattered and nattered. I learnt more about life, not wine, life, from Gilly Goulden in 24 hours on a plane, hoovering back the Jacobs Creek Shiraz Grenache than I think I've ever learnt anywhere else in the whole history of my life. And that's where I didn't know at the time. We were just cementing this relationship, which was going to mean that we could become this madcap couple on British television. Everyone presumed we were married. We never were. They said, but you must be having an affair. No, we weren't. Well, why are you having separate bedrooms? Because we have separate bedrooms. We're not married. We're not having an affair. We're just really good mates doing a television show together. The world thought we were all married. And if we weren't married, we must be having this massive fling.
But I think that's what worked so well. The fact that you guys weren't from a traditional wine expert background. You got called up because the original presenter couldn't do it. So the producer was like, bring me that guy, the actor who knows about wine.
Knows about wine. That's how.
And I think that natural relationship worked really, really well. And then I think also combining with the fact that you're so open-minded, you weren't so set in the ways of we can only talk about France or Italy.
I think Gilly and I, when we suddenly realised that we had this wonderful producer called Peter Bazalgette. I don't know if you've ever met him. He was a supremely talented and imaginative television producer. Ended up as head of ITV and God knows what. He probably still is, for all I know. He, by the way, likes going for drinks in Goulburn Road. So you know, be careful. You might meet him and me down there when we go for a drink. But he was a very innovative, open-minded guy. And he basically thought that, he said, the great secret of television is tell a story and have a relationship. And he said, if you've got those two, you've just got television gold. And he saw straight away that Gilly and I just hit it off. And part of it was because I was a henpecked hubby. I was treated abominably on television. There were times, I mean, on television, I remember me talking to camera. She puts her hand over my mouth. Gilly, I'm still talking to camera. She would come on camera and push me off. This is all live. And Peter Bazalgette going, yes. And Pete, he came out to me, Baz, and said, she treats you terribly. Do you mind? And I said, no, it's fine. I know what she's doing. It's absolutely fine. He said, oh, goodness, because he said, it's television gold. It's a relationship. The only person who hated it, of course, was my mum. What? That woman treats you so badly. I don't know why you put up with it. But everybody else just loved this idea of the henpecked hubby and this batty blonde and their relationship. And because we talked about wine, and we talked about wine in completely unheard of terms.
Well,
we didn't use any wine terms at all.
Well, like the first one I bought, because you once said like happy juice. You once described wine as happy juice. And I was like, yeah, this is happy juice. The Pinot Gris we had, yeah.
I've still got some of the T-shirts from that time. And one of them just said fruit. Because I remember taking a wine, it's probably New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc or Australian Chardonnay. And I was going, fruit. I remember saying it to the camera. And all the wine people think, I hope he spills out all over his makeup. Well, I probably did. Fruit. It's going all down my head. But B, they absolutely hated it. The wine establishment absolutely hated it. And to this day, I still get it in the neck from some of the old codgers.
Really?
To this day.
Really? Even all that you've done, all the books
all of this stuff. I still get
OBE.
snide comments from some of the old codgers. Not all of them. Some of them realised that if it wasn't for the New World, they wouldn't have a business. Because the New World, the reason going back to the New World that Gilly and I, because we did, when we talked about this new show, Food and Drink, we said, we don't like the traditional English wine trade. They don't like us. But they're not getting through to the world of wine. 5 or 10% of the population drank wine, that's all. By the time we'd finished the end of the 90s, 85% of the population drank wine.